Today on Steelers Talk, we're going to be talking about a recent report from Pat McAfee show Steelers correspondent Mark Kaboly, who says that Mike Tomlin actively wants and is very involved in making sure that the Pittsburgh Steelers passing attack avoids the middle of the field. I'm going to tell you why I don't like this strategy from Mike Tomlin, why it makes sense and doesn't make sense at the right time. Make sure you guys stick around because I got the two quarterbacks that I think fit this style of offense that Mike Tomlin wants to run the best. But before we get into the content today, answer this question for me down there in the comment section to kick off today's show. Is there even a 1% chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers can win another Super Bowl title with Mike Tomlin as this team's head coach? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think about Coach T. So let's start with the report here from Mark Kaboly, who went on Pittsburgh radio and said this. Mike Tomlin's been very transparent with that, talking about throwing the ball over the middle of the field. When you throw the ball across the middle, a lot of bad things can happen. He's said that before. I don't know if he's said that publicly, but now it is publicly. He has said that before. That tells you the mindset right there. He wants to stay away from turnovers, and he believes the majority of turnovers do come from the middle of the field throwing the ball. Now, for me, guys, this report both makes a lot of sense and doesn't make a lot of sense at the same time. Now, the thing that I think does make sense is that Pittsburgh's offense and their passing attack, going back to like Kenny Pickett here, Mitch Trubisky, and of course into the Russell Wilson and Justin Fields days in 2024, this offense has avoided the middle of the field. When Justin Fields was in there, it was a lot of bootlegs, it was a lot of throwing out towards the sideline, and then with Russell Wilson, it was a lot of the same, where they were going deep balls down the sideline, and they weren't really targeting the middle of the field all that much. So when you watch the Steelers offense on film, it makes a lot of sense that Mike Tomlin would be kind of pushing the offensive coordinator, whether that's Matt Canada or whether that's Arthur Smith, to kind of stay away from the middle of the field because they want to play ball control level offense, and they don't want to risk getting turnovers, which do happen over the middle of the field. And that's why Tomlin is technically not wrong when he says that throwing the ball over the middle of the field does lead to more turnover-worthy plays. It does lead to more interceptions. And the way the Steelers want to win football games is they want to be able to control the clock. They want to be able to run the football. They want to be able to protect the football. And then on defense, they want to dominate. They want to take the football away, and that's how they want to win football games. And more interceptions do happen over the middle of the field. If you don't have pinpoint accuracy throwing over the middle, the ball gets tipped up in the air. There's more defenders in that area. It does lead to more interceptions. So that's why guys like Matthew Stafford, who pepper the middle of the field, do throw a little bit more interceptions because they are throwing the ball over the middle. And, you can kind of see Mike Tomlin's strategy and why he wants to protect the football here. Over the last 4 seasons, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 35-14 when they have one or fewer giveaways on offense, all right? Now, on the flip side, when they give up the ball 2 or more times in a game, they are 3-16-1. So you guys can see why Mike Tomlin really focuses on protecting the football when it comes to the passing game. But this approach does limit the passing game significantly, in my opinion. There is a reason why the best offenses and the best passing attacks in the National Football League attack this area of the field because it is the most ripe for opportunity. You look at the Miami Dolphins, you look at the San Francisco 49ers, you look at the Los Angeles Rams. All these teams make a huge point of targeting the middle of the field. The Minnesota Vikings with Kevin O'Connell, with Sam Darnold last year. I mean, goodness gracious, these are the best offenses in football because they're using every blade of grass and they are attacking a very vulnerable area of the defensive scheme. And, if the Pittsburgh Steelers are not attacking that area of the field, I think they're missing out on some really big plays and they're leaving big plays on the table. And then also if teams know, and opposing teams absolutely know, that the Steelers are avoiding this area of the field, that means that they're going to try and defend the exterior, the perimeter, towards the sideline, which of course limits the Steelers' options. The thing that doesn't make sense about this, guys, is why hire Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator then? Arthur Smith is known as somebody that likes full field progression reads. He likes to throw over the middle of the field off of play action. So it's kind of a weird fit here why Mike Tomlin would want Arthur Smith, because Smith is kind of not gelling. That's not really his style of offense to avoid the middle of the field. In fact, it's been the exact opposite when he has been in Tennessee and with the Atlanta Falcons. But now here in Pittsburgh, it seems like he is conforming to what Mike Tomlin Tomlin wants because he is the head coach and Art is not. I will say that this does explain a lot when it comes to the Steelers offense, when it comes to Matt Canada, Arthur Smith, and how they've run this offense over the last several seasons. It's definitely apparent that the Steelers do want to avoid the middle of the field, whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Kenny Pickett, whether it's Mitch Trubisky, whether it's Russell Wilson, or whether it's Justin Fields. They have all avoided the middle of the field recently. And, I think that this explains why Mike Tomlin turned to Russ in the first place. Russ has never been somebody that particularly likes to throw over the middle of the field because he wants to protect the football. I think Russell Wilson's philosophy is very, very similar to what Mike Tomlin's philosophy is in terms of protecting the football, taking shots down the sideline, avoiding the middle of the field. And I think that's why I think that Tomlin probably turned to Russ last offseason instead of rolling with Kenny Pickett for another year. And, if this report is true, and I have a, pretty good inclination here that Mark, is spot on here, I think that Russell Wilson actually does have a legit chance to return to the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025. Because one of my big reasons why I think I've been saying the Steelers might move on from Russ is because Arthur Smith might want him to go because he doesn't fit his offense. But if they're running Tomlin's offense and not Arthur Smith's style of offense, Russ is a good fit for that. And there has been some reporting here that the Steelers are in communication with Russell Wilson to keep him around in Pittsburgh. Adam Schefter said earlier this week that Russell Wilson has already had 2025 personnel conversations with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the higher-ups in the organization. Jeremy Fowler, also from ESPN, says that Tomlin has a quote-unquote loyalty to Russell Wilson. And then Mark Kaboly has also said that the owner, Art Rooney, prefers to bring Russ back over Justin Fields. This is what Kaboly had to say about the situation here in Pittsburgh. The people at the top of the organization that might make the ultimate decisions are number 3 fans over number 2 fans. So talking about Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. And then when it comes to Rooney specifically, Kaboly said, I heard that maybe Art is more in favor of Russ than maybe the rest. Now, who has the last call on this? I don't know. So listen, man, I do think that Russell Wilson will probably take less money to come back to the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Russ has said time and time again what he cares about at this point in his career. He's already made a ton of money, is winning championships. He wants to win another Super Bowl before he retires. And whether you believe he's capable of winning another championship, his focus is going to the team that gives him the best possible chance to do that. And, the Jets are just not going to be doing that, guys. The Giants are not going to be doing that. The Raiders are not going to be doing that. Russ understands that the Steelers give him the best possible chance to win titles. So I think he will take less money to stay. And because his play style of avoiding the middle of the field, protecting the football, all this different stuff really fits what Mike Tomlin is looking for in his starting quarterback, and the fact that I think he's willing to take less money to stay, I think all of that is a recipe that could end in Russell Wilson returning as the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback in 2025. But you know who else is a really good fit for Mike Tomlin's scheme and his vision for the offense? That's right, it is Aaron freaking Rodgers. So coming up here, I'm going to tell you why Rodgers is a fit for what Mike Tomlin wants to do here in Pittsburgh offensively and why it might be him, not Russell Wilson, as the starting quarterback next season. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Public Rec. And let's be real for a minute here, guys. Nobody's got time for stiff, uncomfortable clothes anymore. And it's February, it's cold outside, even here in Texas, but it's definitely cold there in Pittsburgh, PA, and you deserve to be comfortable in whatever you're wearing, no matter what you're doing. That's where Public Rec comes in. These pants are just absolutely fantastic, guys. Best pants I have ever worn in my entire life. And, the thing that really makes them great is that you've got the customized size options. So you go in there, go into the website, and, for me personally, it's really tough for me to find pants that fit my size profile because I'm tall and I'm skinny. Department store clothes just don't really fit me. They're either too short or they're too baggy. And with Public Rec, I don't have to worry about that. Another thing that I really love about these guys is that they have fantastic shirt options as well. You got polos, you've got long sleeves. I'm wearing one of their long sleeves right now. It's absolutely fantastic. And the material that they make them with is just so premium. I think it's absolutely worth the price, guys. You guys can see how stretchy the fabric is. It's breathable for the summer. I can wear this black long sleeve t-shirt during the summer and I feel perfectly fine, but it's also made with premium materials so it keeps you warm during the winter as well. I could not recommend this company enough to you guys. So for limited time only, use promo code CHAT20 when you go to publicrec.com to get 20% off your entire order. I cannot recommend Public Rec enough to you guys. They are a phenomenal company. Again, CHAT20 is the promo code at publicrec.com for 20% off your entire order. So now let's get into Aaron Rodgers here, because I think that he has a pretty darn good chance of being the Steelers starting quarterback in 2025. And I know that's not popular, take to have here in Steelers Nation, but I think it's the truth. And, I think Rodgers shares a lot of the positive qualities that Russell Wilson brings to the table that Mike Tomlin appreciates, but I also think he builds upon them. You take a look at the similarities between these two guys. They're both aging former superstars that have reduced athleticism, so they're not the out-of-structure playmakers they used to be, but they're both really good pre-snap processors. They're really good at getting to the line of scrimmage and knowing what the defense is trying to do to them and then attacking that. And then also, they still have legit arm talent. I mean, Russ and Rodgers can still sling it. They both have really good arm talent. Throw with great touch down the field, great deep balls, all that stuff. And then they can also deliver in pass-heavy moments. So 3rd and long, 2-minute drill. Both of these guys are still capable of delivering when the defense knows they have to throw it. And then both of these guys prefer to avoid the middle of the field, which really fits with what Mike Tomlin wants, apparently, in this Steelers offense. But I think that Rodgers, and the advantage he has over Russ, is that he's got the size to see over the middle of the field if that first read and that first preference isn't there. So I think that Rodgers is more capable of playing that kind of Tom Brady brand of football where it's getting the ball out faster, all that different stuff. I think that Rodgers is certainly the better fit to play that style of role than Russ is at this point in his career. With Russ, it's more of one read, and if that one read's not there, the offense is kind of screwed. But with Rodgers, there is at least the possibility of a post-snap processor there over the middle of the field. So I actually think Rodgers is the better option for Mike Tomlin's offense than Russell Wilson is. But Jack, I hear you say at home, what about Justin Fields? How does he fit into this offensive vision for Mike Tomlin? We know that Tomlin's been very complimentary of Fields, and I do think Fields has a pretty decent chance of being this team's starting quarterback in 2025, and I do think that he kind of fits with this vision, all right? I think last year it went fine, all right? They used him on a lot of bootlegs. They tried to avoid the middle of the field with him, and when he did throw over the middle, he had some pretty bad turnover-worthy plays, if I'm being completely honest with you. Fields has really struggled throwing the ball over the middle of the field, but when he was throwing outside the numbers and in this kind of reduced role that he had with the Steelers offense last year, he was pretty decent. He played the best football of his career, and we know that Mike Tomlin really cherishes quarterback mobility. So that might be the thing that puts Fields over the top compared to guys like Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, is that he's a dynamic rushing threat, whereas Rodgers and Wilson are just not at this point in their careers. But the issue that I have with Justin Fields in this particular role is ball protection. All right. And I think he did a better job of protecting the football last year when he was playing for the Steelers than in his previous years with the Chicago Bears, but it still wasn't great. He hasn't perfected the art of protecting the football the way that Rodgers and Russell Wilson have. You guys can see his turnover-worthy play percentages throughout his career. Last year was the best number of his career at 2.8, which ranked 20th among NFL quarterbacks last year. But in more expansive roles in the first 3 years of his career there in Chicago, where he was throwing the ball over the middle of the field more often, those turnover-worthy play numbers were some of the worst among starters in the National Football League. And then I think another big weakness that Justin Fields has in his game that Rodgers and Wilson don't is that Fields really struggles the most when the defense knows that he has to throw the football. When the threat of Fields' legs is gone on a 3rd and long or in a 2-minute drill type of situation, his numbers decrease significantly. You guys can see on the EPA per play numbers on 3rd and long last year, he ranked 34th out of 41 eligible quarterbacks last year. He was not effective whatsoever in 3rd and long situations. And then also, he's been arguably the least clutch quarterback in the NFL since he was drafted in 2021. He's had a lot of opportunities as a starter to really prove himself in the 4th quarter. And not only has he not been able to really get game-winning drives, but he has actually choked games away in his career in the 4th quarter pretty reliably. You guys can take a look at this number here. I saw this tweet that really caught my eye from Scott Kaczmar. I hope I'm saying that right. He says, Justin Fields, the worst clutch quarterback of the 21st century. He's had 17 drives in his career where his team just needed a field goal to win or tie. He's succeeded twice, and one of those drives already started deep in field goal range. So he's basically 1 for 16. So that is obviously not a very good number there for Justin Fields. When he gets opportunities to go tie or win football games, he just doesn't deliver. And then you take a look at the numbers in the clutch since he entered the National Football League. The completion percentage is like 50%, which is abysmal. The interception percentage is dead last at 6.6, so he throws a lot of picks when the defense knows he has to throw it. The passer rating is also very low, and he only has 2 fourth-quarter comebacks and 4 game-winning drives in his entire 4-year NFL career, which is just a terrible, terrible figure in my opinion. And, I think that Russ and Rodgers can still deliver in those moments. We saw it last year with Russ. He delivered a really great game-winning drive against the Washington Commanders. He had some really great moments in the fourth quarter, particularly in that snow game against the Cleveland Browns as well. And then Aaron Rodgers is also, I believe, top 15 in game-winning drives in NFL history as well. So, both of these guys have a history of delivering in clutch moments. They have pretty decent EPA numbers on 3rd and long and in the clutch, 2-minute drill type situations. So I do think that Aaron Rodgers would probably be Tomlin's number 1 choice. I think that he's the best fit for this style of offense. If Tomlin wants to avoid the middle of the field, Rodgers has kind of been known as somebody that doesn't like to throw over there. Same thing with Russell Wilson, who I'd have as the number 2 fit, and then Justin Fields, because of the quarterback mobility, I'd probably rank number 3, at least if the goal is to avoid the middle of the field and play this style of offense heading into next season. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Who will be the Steelers' QB1 in 2025? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. If I have to guess right now, I think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. But I could certainly see a reunion happen with Russell Wilson. If Matthew Stafford's made available, I could see them being aggressive for him. And then I could also see Justin Fields. I think it's very early in the process. But right now, if I have to guess, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button and make sure you get down there in the comments section. If you made it to the end of today's show, make sure you type those real ones down there in the comments section. And then also later today, Coop and I are going to be going live with 4 live segments on Steelers Talk Live, including a live Q&A. So if you got questions about this report, you got questions about the fit for all these quarterbacks inside of the system that Mike Tomlin wants to run here in Pittsburgh, we'll be going live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time later today, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until later today, guys, here we go, Steelers.